What is up, YouTube? Tim Buell here. If you don't know me, I'm a drummer living in Nashville, Tennessee. Today, we are back for the annual installment of What's in My Stick Bag. So this is a series I started a few years ago where I broke down some of the cool things that were in my stick bag that I felt would be useful for you all. And over the years, it's kind of expanded past the stick bag and expanded more into just things I use that I find helpful. So let's talk about some stuff that you can use in your studio, your home studio, or your practice room to make life better and easier. Links for everything I'm going to talk about are down in the description. Let's do a quick drumstick check-in. And I am still using the Firth SD2 Bolero. It is the stick I use for pretty much everything at this point, and it is just the best stick to have in the studio. I love how much cymbal definition it gives me, and I love kind of the fatness it gives. It's just a really great stick. Piece of gear number one that you can pick up for your studio is no bottom heads on your toms. So as long as you have toms, this is actually free for you to do. You just take those bottom heads off and see what they sound like. This is a super cool sound that I've been really into this year. I've recorded on several songs, and it's just something I really like. You might have, if you follow me on Instagram at Tim Buell, you'll see me with several videos on there of me playing where my toms don't have bottom heads. My big tip to make this work is tune the head super low, lower than you think, like literally almost the lugs are rattling around, and use a ton of gaff tape on both the bottom side of the head and the top side where you're actually striking the drum. Must-have gear number two for the year 2021 is the Scheps Omni channel plugin by Waves. This plugin is $40 and it is amazing. So in the world we live in now, whether you want to post videos on Instagram or you want to get into the home session thing, it's really important to be familiar with how to mix your own drums. It can be really overwhelming because you get everything set up, you get your mic set up, you record your drums, and then you go, how do I make these sound like when I listen to the radio? So then you go on YouTube and you search best EQ plugin, and there's 7 billion choices. You don't know where to start. There's a million different compressors you can choose. You don't know where to start, and everything gets really overwhelming pretty quickly. The reason I love the Scheps Omni channel plugin is because in one plugin, you get pretty much everything you need to make your drums that you're recording at home sound awesome. With this one plugin, you get saturation and distortion, you get a high pass and a low pass filter, you get EQ, you get a de-esser, you get a compressor, and you also get a gate. It simulates a console, and it sounds amazing. In a lot of the mixes I do, especially when I'm just throwing something up on Instagram really quickly, this will be the only plugin I have on every channel because it does pretty much everything you need. For $40, this is absolutely a desert island plugin. You could have just this one plugin and do pretty much every single thing you need to do for almost any song you ever record. The last piece of gear that I think everyone should experiment with in 2021 is using guitar pedals with drums. The main thing you need to do this is a guitar reamp box. I bought the Radial XTC SA. It's about $260. And I have to credit Aaron Sterling and Dan Mayo for being kind of my inspiration for this. If you're curious to what this might sound like, here are a few examples of me using guitar pedals on drums. These guitar pedals are a great way to expand your creativity on the drums And if you record at home, they're invaluable for doing things like overdubs. Instead of having just a boring old shaker, you can get some cool effects through these guitar pedals. It leads to some very, very insane and cool sounds. The signal chain for this setup can be very confusing, so here's how it works for me. I have a microphone that goes into a preamp on my Audient ID44 interface. That preamp has an insert loop, so I take the insert loop send from that preamp, and that goes into an outboard compressor. I take the output of that outboard compressor and go into the radial reamp box. The radial reamp box then goes into the pedal board. The output of the pedal board goes back into the radial reamp box, and then I take the output of the radial reamp box and go back into the insert loop input of my preamp. That's the signal chain for making guitar pedals work, and I definitely suggest that as a drummer, you check it out because it can lead to some really cool creative stuff and some sounds that you won't get if you just wait to do it after the fact. It changes the way that you might play a certain part or think differently about tracking something because all of these effects are happening in real time.